Welcome to the Safety Third podcast. This is a very special episode because we're missing everyone's favorite host. That's right, NileRed is not here today, so you can just click away.
Just leave now.
Close this. Don't even.
What's the point?
That's a great question. What's the
you should
point?
still put him in the thumbnail, though.
That's what this video should be titled. What's the point? And
Nigel.
the whole thing is just us, borderline. Yeah, what
Cyberbullying
you're not supposed to
Nigel?
talk about that kind of stuff on YouTube.
The title can be "Someone Couldn't Make It," and the thumbnail is a picture of Nigel, so that people still click on it because Nigel's there, but that he's the one who couldn't make it. That's SEO, baby.
Yeah, we deliver right at the beginning, so you can't get mad at us.
Exactly. If you stick
couldn't
around,
make
that's your
it.
fault.
The one
That's
thing
not our
Nigel
fault.
couldn't make was showing up to this podcast.
Well, because he didn't say no in the Discord, and
I
I
know. He
assumed
didn't
that
say
meant
anything.
yes, but saying
Yeah,
it out
so did
loud, I
I.
realized that's wrong. That's
He's
a
very
bad thing
vocal
to
about
assume.
not showing up, so
Yes,
I kind
he
of
is.
assumed that he would show up unless he did, because he likes to say no.
He does.
So maybe he's dead. Has anyone heard from him? No, we
Don't
heard from him
say
yesterday.
that.
We heard
When's
from
Don't
him
say
the last
yesterday.
thing that he said in any Discord server we're in?
He said, "I'm about to die."
Oh yeah. No, I think he said,
He
I
said,
am
please
actively
help,
dying.
call, and then it just stopped.
Jimmy, you can't get off my cube. Kevin, can I
Yeah,
ask you-
somehow he was able to hit enter, but he wasn't able to hit any of the other keystrokes after.
I like your dumpster, Kevin. That's actually the coolest thing you've ever made.
Thank
Did
you.
you, it looks exactly like, okay, so I realize how stupid this sounds because I say it looks exactly like the dumpster I made, but also it's because a lot of these dumpsters have a very similar.
There's like 3 models of dumpsters, and that's it.
Yeah, and you found the prettiest picture, which is the same thing I did. So if you can't see it because you're listening to this episode, because
Also, I
apparently a
just
lot of
realized you
people
can't-
listen.
Yeah.
You want to describe what's on your on the desk behind the camera, Kevin?
I made a dumpster. It's like a, I don't know, it's about 18 inches long, 12 inches deep, and it's made out of aluminum,
Wait,
and it's on
cut
fire.
out of aluminum
That's legit.
Yeah.
with
You
the
want me to
with
bring
the
it over?
laser, or
Yeah.
I actually thought you had just like spray painted it chrome, which I thought was kind of a weird choice, but now that makes more sense. It's just
That
raw
looks
aluminum.
legit. So you could put a real fire in there. You don't even have to
You
have like there's a
could.
Yeah.
fake fire in
Oh,
there
I should
right
have
now.
done that. I spent so long trying to. You know how hard that is,
mean-
because it's like the paper towels are the flames and they blow out, but then
Oh, you
air
made
has
that?
to
I
go.
thought you just bought like a Halloween decoration. You actually
Air has
made
to
the
go
flames
back
too.
in, and it'll suck the flames like back into the fan. So
What are you using for the blower? What do you blow in the air with?
just like one of those scroll fans, like the sideways fan.
okay.
It looks really good. Like I honestly have.
That's the compression. That's the video compression.
Yeah,
I'd
it's a-
pay $50 for one of those.
What do they? It costs probably more than $50 to make that one.
Yep, I would pay
What do-
$50 for one of those.
What do they say? Like a paint, a little bit of paint will sort of make your welds look good, and I think a little bit of compression will also make your welds look good.
It's like having a blood alcohol level that's just over the legal limit. It makes everything look.
Yeah, I was thinking of having. I have some people that sometimes help me with stuff like, any kind of like I say engineering or designing or CAD stuff that I don't want to do or don't have time to do. And I was gonna take my dumpster that I made for the raccoon video and have them spend a little bit of time turning it into like a more kit friendly thing that you could put together yourself.
That
Like,
would be
instead
a
of having
fun
to-
kit.
I really want to do that. It's just like I spent a lot of time doing the tabs and slots, but to get away from like having to glue stuff, because dude, gluing is like the instant you introduce glue to a project, it's like not fun anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you're a 60-year-old man. So it's like using like little like wedges or like little tabs. So it's like you have the slot, and then the other laser cut wood kind of comes through the slot, but then that has a hole, and then you can like shove, you like wedge another piece in there.
Yeah, that's nice.
So it kind of like everything kind of like locks in place, and that way you can like get it, you kind of put it together pretty quickly. You don't have to deal with like clamping stuff together or gluing things together.
That would be really nice. I feel like a lot of these, like the laser cut kits that you see, they're like made by people who are really into like laser cutting and not really in what the actual thing is.
Yeah.
And so it's always like a box or like
Yeah.
a some kind of a shape or like a placard or so. Like it's usually lame. I think a dumpster would actually be really cool.
If I could spend, like, if my career could be making laser cut kits that I thought were cool, that were, like, easy to assemble, I could do that all day. Like, if I knew that I could sell enough of them to, like, pay my bills and everything, I would sit there all day just designing, like, intricate little things that, like, fit together. There's something, like, maybe wrong with my brain where it's very, like, I'm very satisfied with like automation, where it's like you spend like 100 hours
Oh,
doing something
yeah.
in CAD.
Getting it so you could like redo it over
yes,
and over,
and
it's
again,
perfect.
and then you end up only making one.
Yes.
I realize I think you're actually just describing Crunch Lab. Isn't that basically what Marky
Yeah.
Mark's doing with Crunch Labs?
Yeah, he has more abilities.
That's a free promo, by the way, Mark. You're welcome.
You know,
That
he
we're
sent me
talking on Crunch
he
Lab.
sent me a box because he wanted me to send him
You got a
something.
Crunch Lab box? I haven't gotten a Crunch Lab box.
It was
What
an
the hell,
empty
Mark?
box. He was just sending me a box so I could put the thing in it that he was harassing me to send to him for
Oh,
like
okay,
months.
okay.
And I was like,
see.
oh, he sent me a Crunch Lab box, and then I'll put the thing in it and send
oh,
it
you
back
opened
to
it,
him.
it's empty?
There was jack shit. I knew it. I knew it. I knew he was gonna do that. He sends me. I'm like, he's gonna send me an empty box, and then he sends me a Crunch Lab box, and I was like, all right, I feel like a dick now for being like, thinking the worst of Mark Rober, just gonna send me an empty box as like a passive aggressive way to get me to send him something. Nope. It was actually an empty box, and then I went right back to
That is so fucking on brand for him. Like,
you could have at least sent me a little catapult or something.
Yeah, you could have like built it. You should have sent him an empty box back.
nah,
I know,
he's
I
sold
know.
out, dude. There's all the Crunch Lab kits. They're gone. Like, people love that.
Are they
They're
actually
nice.
sold
They
out?
look really nice.
Yeah.
Really?
That's why I wish that he would send us some.
Man, only if I was a better YouTuber and a better businessman and
A better
More handsome,
person
better
overall.
person.
Yeah, if you were as good as Mark Rober,
if
you
I
could do.
was
What's the opposite of Crunch? You could make Moist Labs, and it's just
Ooh.
a laser cut dumpster kit.
Squish Labs.
It comes with a
It comes with,
matchbook,
like,
so you can
a
put your
liter
own
of
fire in there.
gasoline.
All the kits had been left out in the rain for 3 weeks before we bailed them out.
Can you can gasoline like in a soda can? That would be pretty funny.
Sealed, like a
Wait.
sealed ampule, like a glass
Why not?
ampule of gasoline. You
Yeah.
have to crack it open.
Like one of those fire extinguishers from the 1600s, the glass ones that you throw.
Oh yeah,
Except it's
yeah,
gasoline instead.
yeah. I think there's probably a rule about shipping that through the U.S. postal system.
Well,
I
but
was,
you have to say that it's in there. If you don't say that it's in there, what are they gonna do?
I don't know. Well, the problem is, like, if you're using the USPS, it becomes a felony no matter what. I think if
Just make
it's
money
mail
until
fraud.
you get caught.
Just-
Can you
I
make
was
more
like,
money than your bail would be? That's the question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was looking into recently if there's any possible way to ship live hornets through the mail. And I really like the idea of, like, I had this whole video idea where, like, I want to make a bee gun. It shoots bees, and then part of it would be like, hashtag Team Bees for $1 save a bee. And it would be in my store, and saving a bee, it's like, well, it's not like adopting it in name like with a tiger. I'm actually going to send you a bee, but then it's a hornet.
This is
I
literally
just
like
don't know what
Mark
bees
Rober smoked half a pound of methamphetamine and then started a business.
But so, like, I couldn't figure out a
Alan's
way to.
diversifying his
I was
YouTube business.
expecting the twist coming like way before it did, and then the actual twist is I'm sending you a hornet instead of a bee. Like, I thought the twist was I'm going to send you a bee. That's how I'm saving
No,
it.
the twist is that I actually have no idea what a bee is, so everyone gets wasps. But, like, I really tried. I can't figure out a way to actually send them, because there's exemptions for honeybees, but otherwise it doesn't. You can't just ship, like, animals, especially animals that can, like, kill people.
Yeah. Can you ship peanut butter?
Oh, okay. So peanut butter, and it just so happens that it was infested with a single
Yeah.
wasp
Right.
It happens
in the
you
middle.
know?
Yes.
It does happen. I
You
did
send
think
them a
about
flower. It has a beehive on it.
would it be okay to ship a trap, like a bee or a hornet trap that's empty, but during transit it just collects hornets inside of itself?
I have a question.
Yes.
So, what if you are shipping a hornet's nest?
I
You're
think
not
that's
shipping,
worse.
You're not shipping hornets.
I think that's way worse.
You're shipping the shell that they
Is
live
it
in.
empty?
Well, you didn't know that or not.
Well, that was
It's Schrodinger's hornet nest.
well, I
How do you
need
say
to
Schrodinger? Scrotum. It's Scrotum's hornet
Schrodinger,
nest.
Scrotum's hornet's nest. I need to talk to an actual lawyer about this, because I was kind of wondering, like, how much
That's a good
cover I get
idea.
if I actually claim.
I feel like we should
that-
all say that sentence more frequently.
Yeah, I should talk to a lawyer about, like, how much coverage I get if I honestly can't tell the difference between a honeybee and a hornet. Like, Is there any leeway there at all?
Wow.
I'm
You're
sorry,
right.
Your
You
Honor.
can only ship
I have
honeybees.
Bees.
And it says it has to be
Bees.
labeled live bees on
Yeah.
the package.
Yeah.
we were
Otherwise,
driving.
I think it's a felony. I think because it's mail, it becomes like a mail fraud thing.
We were driving on the freeway once going up to San Francisco. This is a couple years ago. And we passed a car. I think it might even be in an old video. Were you
I
in the
think
car
I
with
was
this?
in that car. I think I was driving. I think
You
I
were
was in the
driving?
PSC. I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And there was the car, the SUV, and it just had a bunch of boxes that said live bees. And
Yikes.
it's like like a Suburban or something. Completely enclosed, right? Windows down or windows up, doors closed on the freeway, filled with boxes of live bees. And yeah, I mean, there's only one thing that crosses your mind, right? Like, what happens if like one of the boxes opens up? What do you do?
I think, God,
You like
just,
open your driver's handbook really quick and see where it's
yeah, look up what to do when that happens.
when your car is filled with bees. I don't remember this part of the DMV driver's test.
There's just something so I don't know. I love the idea of bees just being where they're not supposed to.
This is sort of where the atomic bomb came from. It's just someone had an idea and they kind of just didn't stop and they never thought about it. They just had the idea. It's like, well, technically this is, will help us win the war.
And then
And
we
then
kept
at the end-
running
and then
after
all-
that.
and then
but
it
we're like,
happens,
yeah, that
and
was
then they're
pretty
like-
cool. What if we try
oh,
like plutonium too? Like that should be a bigger boom.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I definitely kind of I can see how that would happen too, because when you just sort of want to see something work and you stop thinking about how much it costs or how much it's going to hurt you, or you just kind
It's
of
more
like
of
you're
like
yeah,
it's a personal challenge to these
the
engineers.
the more I look into like the history of that, and the more I like try and do stuff, like the more that like we even do stuff, the more I realize that like all of the people who worked on the atomic bomb, it was essentially like a team of Kevins. I think that's probably if you traveled back in time 70 years or so and you put a dozen Kevin clones in a room with some plutonium or whatever,
I could do it. I think I could do it.
I think that's
none of those
actually
people-
literally
Like if
how
I
it
had an
happened.
unlimited budget, I could have a bomb by the end of
Because
the week.
you hear about like the Demon Core story where there's like a single screwdriver or whatever, keeping and then it accidentally falls. That's 12 of you in a row.
I'm gonna make a bold. Well, it wasn't 12 for that long. I'm gonna make a bold claim. I don't think any of those people that was working on this were thinking about killing people with this.
You think they all just were like, this is like really
Yeah.
crazy cool.
Exactly.
Like,
Their
we're
goal
splitting atoms.
was not to kill people with a bomb. Like they were not making a bomb for why the government was paying for the bomb. Like the
They're
government was
making
paying
a
money
bomb like
for one
why
reason.
we would make a bomb. 'Cause
Exactly.
It's cool to see something big blow up.
Because you're just like, I made a bomb, and then you're like, oh no, they just blew up a city with my bomb.
Well, that's the Oppenheimer, was it? His quote, the I am become death, destroyer of worlds, or whatever. Was that him?
I
Where like he
think.
sees the first time, he's like, oh.
Yeah, they
Uh-oh.
did what they wanted, and then all of a sudden are realizing the person who paid them to do it is now doing what they want, and you're like, oh, I don't think our goals align. Like, yeah, I think I don't know. I guess I don't know.
I'm trying to think of. I guess there's like a couple of things where, like, I've done some high voltage stuff where someone tried to do it and they did it wrong. They could definitely kill themselves. I guess I'd feel bad, but like, thankfully, that's never been an issue.
Yeah, there's something more about providing like explicit instructions, but even then, like if somebody has ill intent, like I think the worst thing you can do, because we were, I just dealt with this with YouTube. YouTube has kind of cracked down quite a bit.
Yeah.
And-
I mean, there's been a lot of changes recently that just seem like it's be a lot more careful now.
The past month, we've seen a lot of people have been complaining about getting restricted and demonetized. And that's something that
mostly like swear words and stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's not really the content.
Well, that's the thing is what
Like in a
the
broad
way I
sense.
feel about it, because I've talked a little bit to some people inside, but like I don't think I'm talking to like exactly the people who are in charge of some of those decisions. But the idea of like it being dangerous, and I was like, okay, holy shit! Like, who is making these judgment calls as to what is dangerous? Because I got restricted for the cutting that cable with the wall power with the butcher knife on accident.
I feel like that would have been okay like 2 years ago.
The whole video, that was the
Yeah.
most restricted video on the channel until I appealed it, and then the review team came back after break. It was age restricted and demonetized. The views just completely stopped. Like it just cinched it up. Like nope, no one can see. And I was like, are you like who, how, what? Like, okay, now imagine this. Imagine you're doing stuff and you never show anybody any of the mistakes.
Right, because that one wasn't
like
honest.
What could happen?
I remember what was it? It was I had asked you to cut the wire again.
Yeah, you wanted me to refilm it because I'd already cut it, and you were like, "Oh, do that again, I'll film it."
Yeah,
and then I had already plugged it back in, or I had already turned the breaker back on.
Yeah. Like we didn't know it was live, and we were just like getting that shot again, so we had a clean version of it.
Right.
And you cut through it,
and it just explodes. But like, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, if you're a kid and you see somebody cut an electrical wire with a knife and it explodes, does that make them want to cut the knife?
No, I did that all by myself when I was a kid. Right, I never did it again.
Like that's scary. Like don't be careful with power. Like I don't know. I think that. A kid who's going to cut it would already know that they were going to cut it. Like, they were already going to do it. And then finding this would make them be like, oh, that looks dangerous. I shouldn't do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why would that? But that's what drives me nuts is there's, like, somebody's making this, like, kind of objective decision or subjective decision.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, like, it was years ago, and I don't know if that actually be interesting to see if that video is, like, restricted at all now. But, like, years ago, Colin Furs did a video that I, like at the time, I think I was just like a teenager or something. I wasn't making videos, but I remember thinking like, wow, that's like a really cool move by him. He made an entire video about like he had like one of those pulse jet engine things or like a flamethrower, something like backfired on him.
Flamethrower scooter.
Yeah, and so he burned the shit out of his arm, and the entire video was showing the accident, and then like the next 4 weeks, him in the hospital, showing him like getting the arm treated and it healing over like a month.
And that's kind of what worries me a little bit is that someone's making a decision to be like, oh, well, that kind of stuff is a little bit too vulgar or grotesque or makes, like it's sort of dangerous. Because like you're sort of showing somebody something that is dangerous. Like you're showing it to them. You're like, this is dangerous, right?
Like, look at the power of this thing that I have.
Right.
Like,
as opposed to only showing it working, right? Like imagine only showing it working.
That was like one of the best early lessons I can remember seeing on YouTube was Colin Furs, like the OG, burn the shit out of himself, and he showed the entire process of like, no, this wasn't like it didn't happen, it was done. Like the next month he was in the hospital, like getting his burn treated.
So like you can still upload videos like that, but they will potentially just restrict them and not allow ads to run on them. And so then why, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like you can kind of see like none of like all of us would be like, well, do I want to include that if it's gonna like?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like it's almost like there's not enough like manpower or like there you could never possibly have someone make like an informed decision on all the footage that goes up on YouTube.
Yeah.
So they have to just kind of make dumb ones almost.
Yeah, I think
that's kind of what that whole like self-content rating thing was for.
Right.
I feel like there's people like us that are never gonna make anything that's like malicious or bad on YouTube. I'm sure that people that do that are just like the one-off teenagers who upload something. Then how do you even catch that? Also,
if the FBI comes to YouTube, then it's fair game.
Right.
That's the review team that should be the one who's restricting the content. All right.
Who reviews the reviewers? The FBI.
All right, Kevin, there's another one.
Oh, man.
I don't know. It was kind of like a little startling for me because I was sitting there thinking to myself like, oh man, like I've got some stuff I want to do now that's like I don't know, like is this dangerous? Like what is dangerous? Can you not show dangerous stuff, or do you just sort of have to lie about it being dangerous? Like make dangerous stuff look safer than it actually is. Like that seems like the wrong answer.
Well, like I just got this laser welder, and normally I have like a torch, like a propane torch on my welding bench.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking like, man, what if I just like, the beam bounced off and it pierced the torch? It would be like, shooting out. So I'm like, oh, I should do that in the video. But I don't think I should actually do that in the video because it'll probably get like, they'll say, oh, it's reckless. And, but I would make sure to use like a propane tank that's like only on fumes. It only has fumes left in there.
It's like it's
not going to be
really
like an
reckless.
explosion.
Being able to import high power, like unprotected lasers from China that have no sort of official like
what if a kid just like saw a video on using a circular saw and you're like, here's a circular saw, go play with it, like go make me a bed.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's like the highest what a kid make? The number of like hospital visits for on like during holidays, like Christmas time, is like the plastic packaging cutting people.
Is it
the something like I think clamshell packaging?
Oh yeah, I've like cut it and then I went to go tear it and it just like went, it stuck right into my skin.
And it's like, all right, that's a common thing. That's sort of okay. Or power tools
if you look at like overall, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but I guarantee you if it's like you look up how many kids have been hurt by like watching and emulating science YouTube and how many kids have been hurt playing football. As part of intramural or like school sports. I guarantee you, I don't know the numbers, but I bet my life that it's like way like an order of magnitude more kids getting hurt playing football.
Yeah, it's probably worse injuries too, like long-term like head injuries.
Cause, skateboarding.
But that's that's normal. Like that is accepted because it's like, oh, that's just what we do. Johnny that's is gonna be a little slower now.
One kid shoots his eye with a potato cannon.
I don't. It's just like I think that it's not even anything to do about safety. It's just appeasing the sort of the dollars, right? Of like a company comes in and wants to spend money, but also is very paranoid. Like, oh, we don't want to have our video on a ISIS beheading video that somehow made its way onto YouTube.
Dang, I thought the meta was going that way. That was going to be my next video.
I'd click on that. Yeah, and so it makes me feel like a little bit. I don't know, like what do you do? Do you just sort of do less obviously dangerous stuff? Do you put more disclaimers? Like that means anything?
I mean, it just feels like it almost is like kind of like a homogenization of content matter, like subject matter, right? It's like it's almost like they're painting into this corner until there's like kind of less and less that you feel like you can do on YouTube until everyone's doing like, I don't know, toy unboxing, Spider-Man, Elsa, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like a couple steps away from just jumping straight into that.
I told you, man, that's been plan B for a while for me.
Yeah, just like...
I'm going to go like, I'll go adopt a kid and just...
That's how long do
you have to wait? Can you return them after like...
I think it was like a year, that one family vlogger. Okay, I think it was like a year, right?
We could probably film up like a couple of years worth of content in that single year and then just return them.
But you literally did that with that raccoon though. You already did that.
Yeah, but I can't legally own a raccoon here.
I feel like there's more red tape with owning a raccoon than there is a kid.
Yeah, there is.
Believe it or not.
Actually, that's horrifying, but I think it's pretty much true. Is that you
could
get...
do you technically own a kid? If you have a kid, do you own it like on paper, or is that
I think until they're 18, yeah. Because they're your responsibility. Like if they go cause some damage, it comes back to you. They're sort of like, I don't know what the technical term would be, but they're definitely like they're an offshoot of you. Like they're tied to you financially.
But you can own a kid the way you can own a dog.
That's a comparison I was gonna make, but I didn't want to go there, so I'm glad.
I mean, I think that the answer, like my guess would be like legally, kind of, like sort of, like it almost behaves like it, but you don't actually own them. But for all intents and purposes, I think maybe you could describe them as being owned.
When are we going to get Legal Eagle on this podcast? I think we would have a lot of questions for him. A lot of questions.
I've already harassed him about a couple of stupid things. I harassed him when we abandoned the Volvo, the silver mine.
Right, yeah.
And I think he said I was... that it was dumb, that we did a dumb thing.
Well, how did that happen again? It was because
this is what we like to call
you had a car that like the oil pan or whatever
so
broke.
So coming down the mountain, Kevin and I, we were in the same car, right? On the way down.
Yeah, it was you and Kevin, and I was driving on my own in the other converted off-road vehicle.
Yeah, Michael
had already left at that point. Yeah.
We sent her
Michael
a little
took off.
too hard. So we abandoned. So basically, this video actually I think is coming out next week, or maybe this week. I don't really know. I need some more video. We bought. Well, okay. So Brent, who was in the last podcast, Brent Underwood, the owner the mine guy, the owner of Cerro Gordo, which is tied, the YouTube channel Ghost Town Living. He was on the podcast last week. He owns a silver mine, which is essentially a museum that they've covered in super glue. And no, okay, wait. No, my description was when you go to a museum, they cover everything in like super glue and they weld it together and it's all safe. So you can't everything is like seized up and doesn't work. So Cerro Gordo is the exact opposite. Everything works and you can touch everything and it's insane. And so we filmed a video coming up there, but he warned us that we needed to have 4-wheel drive because it's like a kind of a crazy dirt road. And it had just been washed out and they fixed it like kind of right as we showed up. He's like, you need 4-wheel drive. And I'm like, okay, perfect. So we went and bought 2-wheel drive cars. And
math checks out.
We customized them.
Exactly. We customized them. We upgraded them. And we tried to off-road up this mountain. And on the way down...
Which it goes up a mile, by the way. It was like a 7-mile-ish long trail that goes
8 miles.
up.
It's 8 miles?
8 miles out and 1 mile up.
Vertical,
we went vertically up 1 mile.
Yeah.
Which is considering that like how far up does the atmosphere go? Is like 60 miles.
Like
when you think of it in those terms, we went a significant way up.
I think it's just about it was like 500 feet above where we were.
Breathable atmosphere. Breathable atmosphere, not much higher than what we were at.
So we drove the cars up there, which used a surprising amount of gas. We should have filled up because I think we were getting like 2 miles to the gallon going up the hill.
Yeah,
we were
because
also
it was
driving really aggressively.
Because we drove hundreds of miles to get to that point, and the cars did really well. And then once we like had to go off-roading, I think I spent like half a tank of gas just doing that.
Yes.
And if that was like the road after it was fixed, I would hate to see what it actually normally looks like.
On the way down, however...
Which
we
you
were a lot
think
more
would be the
comfortable.
easier.
You think
going down would be easier.
I think the problem is it lets you go faster, and when you go faster, your suspension is going to compress more when you hit bumps, and when you compress more, you get closer to the ground, and then you crack your oil pan on a rock. And so we had to abandon the car there.
We left
Because it was like
trail.
you couldn't have driven more than like because it was still running.
No.
But if you had tried to go like any sort of distance, it would have just died.
I think the last drop of oil fell out where we parked it.
Yeah.
At the end of the mountain.
So we were trying to figure out what to do. It's like, well, we can't drive this. We can't really tow. We can't do anything. Like, do we just leave it here and call a tow truck? And we're like, no, we have a great idea. So we took the title, which I don't really know exactly how this works, but I hadn't signed the title yet. And so I was like, all right, I left it in the glove box and I put the key in the hitch that we had welded onto it. And I said to our Patreon Discord for Safety Third, I was like, whoever wants a free car, the oil pan's cracked, the title is unsigned, it's at the bottom of the Cerro Gordo silver mine. And then somebody sent us a picture a couple hours later and there's no car there. And they're like, oh, the car is gone. And I was like, all right, okay, so I was sort of hoping that whoever took it would claim it and tell me they took it. But now what I'm realizing is somebody has a car with an unsigned title, and I'm sort of just praying that they register it to their own name. Otherwise, now there's essentially this like kind of stolen car that's in limbo. So I was sitting there thinking to myself like, okay, what do we do? Do I file a police report? Like, oh shit. I was in my head. I was like, someone's gonna claim it. They're gonna say, oh, I have the car, and then it's their car. But instead, what happened is it just sort of disappeared.
And then the obvious choice was I'm gonna DM Legal Eagle and see.
So I DM'd Legal Eagle and I was like, all right, hear me out. I've done a thing, and I think he said something. He said it was very dumb and that I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we learned that Brent had actually taken the car.
Yeah.
Right.
So I told him, it was at the bottom. I said, hey, we're gonna call a tow truck tomorrow, but also it might not be that.
Fast.
You start trying to explain this to me, and you realize you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. No, I want to go back up. I want to fix their water
I want to go
pump.
back so bad.
Yeah,
because I didn't get to see the museum. I didn't know what you guys were doing. I thought you were just
collecting grenades or something.
Yeah, well, I mean that's.
Yeah, well, look, Kevin, we didn't get
I was riding
grenades,
dirt
so
bikes
like you
out
got
the
your
back
own
country.
thing, and we got our own thing.
We got a tour.
You know?
Yeah.
Did you see it? Did you watch the video?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
I like
there's
the big giant bar of lead, all the pickaxe heads and all that other stuff in there. It's super cool.
Dude, that thing was heavy.
Yeah.
There's right now on the Safety Third Patreon, there is a like a 40-minute vlog basically of us exploring the silver mine at Cerro Gordo. So if you're into that, yeah, except for Kevin, no, you're in there till the end.
Yeah, he found some like military shooting range they definitely shouldn't have been in.
Yeah. There's gonna be a shorter version of it published publicly, like I don't know, maybe like 15-minute version. But if you sort of like the longer videos, that's up right now. But yeah, we did a whole tour and everything, and I want to go back real bad. And I have a friend who's like a not civil engineer but environmental engineer, and he does like water stuff for the city. And I'm like, hey, you want to help me kind of come up with a way to get this water out of the mine? Because there's water 700 feet under the mine entrance that you should go if you're into mines or like kind of caves or gold mine, silver mine.
All three of our listeners that
Minecraft.
If you're into Minecraft,
Among Us,
go watch some of Brent's videos. Go watch the water ones. There's one that's like a 40-minute one. And there's one that's like a pretty short one that kind of describes it. It's crazy because it's so bizarre of how like the water leaks into the mine from literally the walls. Like they
don't even know. Where does it come from?
It's not groundwater. It's like mountain water. It's like water coming through the dirt over who knows how long it takes for it to actually traverse through the ground. And then it leaks into one of the caverns, which I'm assuming they just discovered this accidentally. They just dug a tunnel and all of a sudden started flooding. And so they're like, oh, cool, water. They dug a sump. So there's a big pool. It's like maybe, I don't know, it's actually not huge, but it's big for being 700 feet underground. It fills with water slowly as the water leaks in and drains to the cave or into the sump. And they pump it out. But they're having problems with it. So I'm sitting there thinking like, man, I could totally do this. Especially with like a little bit of help from people who are familiar with pumps. Like, I mean, pumping something water 700 feet up is crazy. Like that's not a trivial task. I mean, to the right person, it's trivial, but it's not a standard. It's not like this is not something that you see frequently. I mean, even in skyscrapers, I don't think it's 700 feet straight up. They probably do it sequentially.
Right. Because at that point, you have to deal with huge pressures, right? If like you're just
no, we were talking about this before, and I did the math, and it's only like 70 pounds of water because it's a thin pipe. It's only like a half inch.
But what's the psi at the bottom?
Oh, I don't know.
It ends up being like 600 psi or something like that.
Depending on the diameter of the tube.
It's crazy. It's like super, like the head is crazy. The amount
Oh, yeah, because it's like 70 pounds on like no, that would be like 100.
Depending on the cross section, right? If it's less than a square inch, the cross section, that's going to multiply that by however many times.
There's also like some complexity in like the dynamic. Like I took one fluid dynamics class, but like water pressure is different than like accelerating water, right? So like the instant you start trying to accelerate water, the pressure is going to increase. I don't know by how much, but like I think there's a lot of like kind of complexity that comes from just trying to get the water moving, because it does it like it's a diaphragm pump that's in there right now. We did some research on the pump, and I think it like does it in chunks. So it's like a peristaltic pump kind of, but it not in the actual mechanism, but in the sort of mechanic of the pump, where the pump can move defined, like it can move defined volumes.
It moves like batches of water and not a continuous
every time. That's what the
okay.
And there's like a worm drive in there, so there's like a worm screw, so it's like super low geared. It's doing like little batches, so it's like constantly like the water is stopping going, and that acceleration is what causes like the sort of the hammering effect, and that hammering effect is brutal. It's like imagine like a 20-pound child, you could pick them up easily. But, okay, this is a bad analogy, but if they jump off of like a 2-story building, you try to catch them. They weigh 20 pounds, but the force is going to feel a lot more than what 20 pounds is when you're just picking it up in gravity, if that makes sense.
It's not just one kid even. It's a whole line of children jumping off this building. You've got to catch them all.
You have to catch all the kids or else.
You're going to get tired really quick, and then what's going to happen to the rest of the kids?
It's bad. It's really bad. It's really bad. After the pile is big enough, that won't be such a big problem.
Yeah, that's where the analogy breaks down. It's a lot like the water and electrons. It's good up to a point, but
so I want to go back. I don't know about you guys. I mean, Kevin wants to go back. I'm assuming everyone wants to go back because it's definitely badass. And I don't think I have the balls to go in the elevator.
No, especially after like the footage we tried to get last time and what happened to the elevator.
Oh, didn't? Yeah, I got stuck.
I don't think that made it in the video.
Because what you were trying to get just like some B-roll of like a GoPro underneath the elevator on its way down, so you could just sort of see like the endless depth. Because it's 900 feet, right? Was it 900 feet?
It's 900 feet to the bottom, yeah.
And so, but then the elevator didn't even move down like a story, not even a story.
It went down
was
like 3 feet, and then it jammed. It got stuck. I think one of the boards
sideways and it wedged itself in the mine shaft.
I was thinking like, man, they should like really kind of fix some of this stuff up. And then I'm like, also, actually, they shouldn't, because the easier it is to use and the safer it is, the more you'll put yourself into dangerous situations going into the mines, which you cannot fix unless you're a billionaire. And so I think it's perfect. I think it's exactly what it needs to be, where you get to see how bad it is because of how old and janky and cheap, it was. Well, I mean, not cheap, but it's still just like dirt walls with plywood, keeping the dirt in on 900 feet of elevator.
I feel like I would go down the elevator if everyone else did too. I think I'd give in to peer pressure. If the two of you were in the elevator, I think I'd also get in the elevator.
I would do it if it was faster. Like if it would just go down there. If I could be down there in like 10 minutes, I would definitely get in that elevator.
It could potentially be way too fast if the stars align. It could actually go way faster than you ever wanted.
If it went longer than I'm worried about something going wrong, that makes it worse.
If they were able to make it accelerate at 9.8 meters per second squared, I would consider getting on. I'm like, maybe even if there's like a passive secondary cable, like some sort of industrial like fabric cable that can support the weight, like I don't know what they use, like
Kevlar
cable, the Kevlar cable or something, and it's on a flywheel with a clutch, right? So if
like the auto belays for a rock climber.
Yeah. So if you start slipping too quickly, it will engage.
You don't trust the 150-year-old e-brake on the elevator currently?
I trust that. I don't trust the wood beams that it digs into.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the beams are like going like this all the way down too. So it's like
if you can build something that makes it a little bit safer, then I'm willing to trust the old part, because then it's like, well, I know how this works. So if this works, then I trust that. It's like a little bit of an insurance policy, like I just it's a little too old and a little too shitty to get on it without just
imagine how cool it would be 900 feet under, because didn't Brent mention that like there was like a little hangout place down, like didn't he spend like a whole like couple of days down there on his own?
Yes,
he had like a story about that.
Oh yeah.
So if you look at the video of the water, so part of the problem is that the pump is by the elevator, and then the water line has to go 50 yards to the water. But to get to the water, they had to run the line over a little mountain of rubble in the cave.
Oh, yeah. That's collapsed.
So you're going into a cave that has, like, active collapses in it. Like, you have to be sort of a madman to hang out.
Yeah. Isn't there earthquakes in the area too? I mean, it's in California.
Yeah. What are the odds? Like 99.999% of the time, it's not collapsing.
How many dead miners are in the cave stuck behind a collapsed wall?
More than
Wasn't
one.
It like at least 18 or something?
I think it's probably, if I had to guess, I would probably put it in the hundreds.
Fuck, no way, really? You think there's hundreds of miners in there?
Based off of the one incident he said where it was dozens.
Uh-huh. But you think that like happened like several times?
There's no way it did not happen. And it's like, what back in the day, you put people that you don't give a shit about into these bad situations. And so if something happened,
but that collapse made it into the newspapers. That's why he knew about it. So like if there was
it was a big deal, right?
Yeah,
but,
if there were
one
other
guy
ones,
dies, that is just disposable day labor, like manual labor. Like, I mean, I think of the history classes we've taken, that is something that has stuck with me, of how excellent their workers were treated back in the day.
Oh yeah, I mean, this was like a huge mining corporation. This isn't like
right. You just bring a bunch of people here, and you treat them badly, and it's harder to fight back because they're foreign and don't really understand
out in the middle of nowhere. They use their own company money.
How else are you supposed to make money? Like,
Well,
you
I mean,
make less money
yeah,
if you don't kill people.
I'm not saying they shouldn't have done it.
You make less money
I'm
if they
just
find
saying
out
that
you
there's
killed
probably
people.
hundreds of dead miners in the caves.
I don't know about hundreds, although there's 30 miles of it.
Fine, thousands.
I'd believe thousands. I'd believe thousands.
Even if there was 2 dead miners every mile, how many miles? 30 miles. That's
30
60
miles,
dead miners.
60
if there's
dead
3
people.
dead miners every
Miners
mile,
per mile.
Yeah, once you hit 4, then yeah, you pass 100. If there's on average 4 dead miners for every
3.33 dead miners every
per mile of
Repeating,
mine.
of course.
Yeah, I that place was really like you don't get to experience that.
No.
Like
No, it was
I really
insane.
I would definitely go back.
Should we make a Patreon goal? If we hit a certain amount of money, then we'll go in the elevator.
Oh God, how much money would it be worth? How much money? Actually, that could be. Can we ask people to pitch a number for us, like how much our lives are worth?
I
If
don't
we
think
ask
I don't think
people
we're
in
gonna
the-
like the answer that
If we ask people in the
choose.
comments to tell us how much our lives are worth, and that'll be the Patreon goal of going in the
Okay, leave a
elevator.
comment down below of how much you think our lives are worth. No, yeah, that's it. That's the whole question.
Don't we already
Yeah.
have a goal for 5,000 Patreons?
Oh, well, what is it? What did
It
we
was
say?
sitting on a wall naked and jumping off of it like frogs.
Oh my
Like frogs jumping into a
I
pond.
wasn't in that one. I didn't agree to that.
You see
I
the-
wasn't part
so-
of that one.
The Discord server agreed to it for all of us.
Fuck. Okay, well that stands
It's
then.
a bunch
I can't
of
do anything
naked
about
dudes
that.
on a wall with their asses towards the camera in like frog pose, and they just like
But you'd see our
jump away.
balls and shit
No,
like
well,
dangling.
how big are your balls?
I feel like you'd be if we were in frog pose.
Okay,
I
we'll
think
go
you'd
get
see
some
the
of the like
balls.
the stuff that
No.
women use for their dresses, like the strap stickers.
Oh yeah,
You could
like
sort
a
of just strap
pasties,
your-
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait,
Well,
so
no,
the
it's
idea
like-
is that you don't want people to see our balls, just
It's
our
just
assholes.
ass. But it's really bad quality, and it's super dark, and it's just like kind of a one light source, and so you just see a bunch of like naked dudes, like frog jumping away from the camera.
I don't know about you
Yeah,
guys, but
like,
like
off the
there's
distance.
gonna be hair sticking out. Like if we're because frog is like spread open, legs
Okay,
wide.
okay, well, not like that kind of frog, but more like
Yeah.
like a. God damn it!
of a frog are you talking about? Because the frog I'm imagining, there's going to be balls, there's going to be hair, even from
Frogs
behind.
don't
There's
have
going to be an
balls.
asshole.
Yeah, watch Kevin. Kevin's gonna.
All
do
right,
it right
Kevin, show us how to do this without revealing.
it's like
Like
this.
that?
This is
now. Yeah, and you just sort of rib it.
Okay, I
Rib
think I think you'd still see a lot. You'd still see a lot.
We're just gonna replicate the video. You can't see anyone's balls in the video.
I mean, I didn't say that I wouldn't do it. I'm just letting everyone know that that's what they're
that you're
signing
not
up
going to see the balls.
I just wanted people to be aware of the situation.
I feel like no matter how far away a goal feels like it is, there's something about
You're
just
not
making
ready
these-
for it.
You're like
What-
making these promises, and you're just like, yeah, that'll never happen, and then it happens, and you're like, well, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I'll do it. I've decided. If the Discord said to do it, then I'll do it. Wait, what is this supposed to be replicating?
There was this video. It was just
like a
weird
meme.
I'll send. How do we show this? We gotta put it in the. Can we
Chat?
put it? Let's get the age video.
I have it. I'll post
restricted.
it. I have
Yeah,
it on desktop ready to
Okay,
go.
It's just
So-
a bunch of frogs jumping
Yeah.
off a wall.
No, here. I'll you watch it, and I'll describe it verbally for the viewers and the.
Oh, is it in the Discord? Okay, I
Yeah.
see.
So
Okay,
there's.
okay.
It's very dark, and
Oh God!
bunch
Wait,
of
it's
people on a like brick
Oh.
wall, like 5 guys on a brick wall, and they're all stark naked, and it's really bad quality. And they're jumping off the wall. They kind of look like monkeys, but then they're hopping away, popping out from behind the wall. But it's so
Okay.
dark that you can't really. It's like dark and grainy.
I think
And-
also the angle of the camera helps a lot with not seeing their assholes or balls. I
Yeah.
think that's part of it too.
You're
That's
right.
We
why.
can do this
why
at
are
the
we?
mine.
Yeah. Why are we
Would-
doing this? Why are we?
Because we're not doing it unless what was the goal? 5,000
5,000
patrons.
patrons.
Because we'll do anything for money, including going down a mine hole.
Wait, how many patrons are there currently? What's the last count?
I have no idea.
Is it anywhere
actually
near
don't even-
5,000?
All I know is that the manager Ian comes to me and says that we can afford the editor we hired.
Does he know that he's going to be editing footage of us naked and jumping like frogs? off the wall?
I think that he has not found out about that one, but I maybe will edit that one myself. That way I can see everyone's box.
Yeah, we all know the real reason why you want to do that.
Oh no! Oh, I guess we have to do this now.
I can't find the origin of this like 5,000 Patreon thing on the Discord server,
really?
so I might be making that up. Which means I just
I
did
posted
that.
it. No, I did it. It's in the announcements tab.
I searched for 5,000.
You made it up. You're the one who made it up then.
I just thought it'd be funny, and I feel like we gotta incentivize. We gotta provide activities and goals.
Should we have one that's lower than 5,000 then?
Do we just
what?
do that, but we take off more clothes for each milestone we hit?
God.
All right. Every 1,000, we have 20% less clothes until we have 0 clothes.
I just want to do more. I want to do more extra stuff. Like it's nice being able to have an editor to just kind of throw something at, because a lot of the bottleneck, or all the bottleneck for doing videos, at least for me, is just having to like take the footage, upload it. You know, even just getting on your computer is sort of a pain in the ass. It's not like hard, but like all these little steps you have to do, and then having to like sift through and edit and put it together. And it's like being able to just like do something dumb, like the tractor video, which we did another one too. So there's another video coming out Saturday. And it's like we spent a little bit of time filming it, like 30 minutes, and then we send it to Jacob to edit, and he does a really good job, and I don't have to think about it. And so being able to afford to pay him just is like giving me all sorts of ideas, like what are stupid little things we could do.
Yeah, I think the extras are always end up like I don't know is it bad like to say that they always end up way better than I think they will be.
Yeah.
Like even like the dog food versus human, like one of the early ones.
So
I can remember.
good.
It was really good. It was very watchable considering that we were just eating dog food the entire time.
Yeah, because we weren't thinking. Someone just rang the door. 1 sec.
Oh, bye, Will. How you doing, Kevin?
Good. Well, I tried to go as long as I could in that dog food video without eating dog food. Like, I was playing it smart.
Yeah.
I was really against it. Like, I was sure you guys were all going to get
minutes.
like, yeah. And then Will got everybody with the burger at the end.
Yeah.
I think that the best, like the most fun kind of content comes from not really thinking too hard about stuff. And
thinking too hard, I thought I was going to get like some kind of parasite and die from the dog food.
It's dog food.
You're worried about like dying? Look at Mr. Backdoor Scientist.
Dogs die from eating dog food sometimes, and they're dogs. They
sometimes,
eat food.
not all the time, Kevin. Sometimes people die from eating people food. I bet you dog food statistically is safer than human food.
Like of deaths per capita
I'm
dog
just
food
thinking
versus
about like
human food.
how automated the processing is. Like, there's no way. Like, I feel like having humans involved in preparing food is sort of the weakest link.
Well, if you make the food taste like to us horrible, and it's just that's a good thing
Speak
about
for
dogs.
yourself. I'll eat the whole can.
It was so gritty. It was so gritty and
What was that? All the
kind of
bones?
livery.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think they don't do as good of a job grinding on the bones. So I think the dogs like the bones.
They
Is
probably
there any
do.
like data on how much longer dogs would live if they ate like real food? Is that a thing? Because I've heard that.
What's real food though? Like a real steak or like?
I don't know, like not just dried kibble.
like dead squirrels that they found on the side of the
squirrels,
road?
whole like free range squirrels.
I think statistically, dogs that live in the wild eating natural food die much earlier than dogs who live in captivity
whatever
eating.
the world's oldest living dog, whatever dog that is, I guarantee you it
didn't
lives
smoke
indoors and
cigarettes
eats
or
dog
drink
food.
alcohol.
That's
Yeah,
also
but
true.
what
Also
if
true.
it ate like organic cooked chicken all day?
I
It
think
took multivitamins.
I think that there's definitely bad dog food. So like the super cheap stuff,
Right.
is probably bad for your dog and would maybe make it fat or just slightly malnourished. I don't think if you're gonna buy like a higher end processed dog food,
Yeah.
I doubt it makes a difference.
I think you're right, but I think it's like a myth. Everyone's like, there's a lot of people now that want to feed their dog by themselves. They'll just give it like, just steak and cheese. Or like, this is all my dog
Yeah,
needs to
that's
survive.
bad.
It's just got none of those byproducts in it. And the
But-
dog's like a 400-pound sausage, like waddling around.
But what was one of the biggest things you noticed about the dog food other than the fact that it tasted horrible? Like organ meat and gritty. There's one defining thing that I can think.
Oh, it's not salty at all. Dogs can't
Not
have salt.
salty at all.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had to season it.
Yep. And so I think like I would guess that people preparing food for their dogs would inevitably potentially cause more harm for their dog by preparing it in a way that they eat food.
Right. You
I
think
mean,
they'd be like, make
they
it
have, like-
taste good for people,
Right.
but not understand that dogs are not people.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm not a dog scientist or anything like that, but I also think, you know, the likelihood of your dog dying from getting hit by a car is probably much higher than
I think it's also like, we know exactly what dogs need to survive, and they'll eat it every day,
Yes.
like happily.
like you can feed your dog the greatest, healthiest organic food all day, and it would still eat its own shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, or it's gonna
Like,
eat
I know what
a
I
rat
need
that
to
your neighbor
survive.
poisoned. Like,
And I'll eat a bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos instead
yeah.
because it
He's
tastes
I mean,
talking
fun.
about keeping your
Flamin'
dog alive forever.
Flamin' Hot Cheetos is like human dog food, though. Like,
Yeah.
I think if there was aliens keeping
It's like
people
corn
as pets,
byproduct.
yeah, you would fucking pour the Flamin' Hot Cheetos into the bowl for the people
What's
to eat out of.
What's the closest thing to
Like a
human
little
dog food?
bottle full of ranch in your
Yeah.
Like
Like a little
of all
hamster.
the foods that we regularly eat, what do you think is the closest to dog food?
Like cereal, I
Spam or like a liver pate, or you mean like in concept? of-
yeah. I mean, like sort of the level of eating. Just when you think what do you think of dog food? You think, oh, they're just throwing all the crap in there, they're grinding it up, they're not really thinking much about it. Like it's sort of nutritionally
I
sufficient.
think Kevin's guess of cereal is pretty close. I
like
feel like if it
granola's
was,
always full of crap.
Yeah, I feel like
it's always got
people
bits in there.
like muesli or granola or like
Yeah.
cinnamon toast
Or like
crunch. That's
fiber
people
Fiber
food.
One or something.
Yeah,
what's the
that's
really
people
crunchy
food.
cereal that's just like
What about like hot dogs or?
Well, I'd like the hot dogs is physically close, but I think conceptually it's like a box of cereal is like human
Yeah.
kibble
Okay.
because it's got all the vitamins you need.
or like
you put it into a bowl, you eat
Right.
it every day.
yeah,
but
maybe those
it's
like protein bars, like the meal replacement bars, almost like the mass gainer, like that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Like it's nasty.
What about from like a process standpoint?
Yeah, like a hot dog, a Spam,
Yeah,
like any of those like things that are
For-
just ground up and meat glued together.
I've been buying a lot of
Bologna.
like lumber recently and like
Bologna.
OSB and like fiberboard
Which is
like
like
that.
Wood bologna.
The
Yeah,
dog
exactly.
food.
It's like here's a which is really honestly amazing that you can take essentially what would have been thrown away and you compress it into usable material. I feel like that's kind of a hot dog. Like hot dogs are sort of the OSB of the food world.
it's true.
I had a thought the other day of like if like a fast food company, like if McDonald's sponsored a pregnant woman to only eat McDonald's, could she safely give birth to a McDonald's baby? Like if you only eat McDonald's for 9 months, that baby is made of McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right? Like the baby could only be made out of McDonald's atoms and molecules if she's only eating McDonald's the entire time. Like could that, do you think the baby would be alive? Do you think you could do
Like this
that?
baby's brain has been constructed with protein that's been deconstructed from patties and reassembled into neurons.
Like
What?
how much money do you think a fast food like a Subway baby, like how much do you think it would cost to pay a pregnant woman to only eat that food for 9 months?
What was the
Could you like have them
consequence
like
in
compete
Supersize
in some
Me?
sort of baby Olympics and see which one's the
Two
healthiest?
pregnant women, two
Arby's-
different food brands, and see
Yeah.
which
Burger
baby's
King.
healthier.
Burger King versus McDonald's baby? What happened in Super Size Me? I remember watching Super Size Me. It came out a long time ago. The documentary where the guy ate. Wasn't the whole thing a little bit of like? No, I don't want to say shizer, but wasn't it like kind of greatly exaggerated?
Yeah,
a
like
bit?
later, I think in later years it came out that the guy's kind of a piece of shit and that the whole time he was like a raging alcoholic, and so that explains some of the test results that he got, was that he was eating McDonald's, but he was also like getting wasted every night.
He was like drinking more
I think
calories than
that's-
he was
you
eating
know-
from McDonald's.
So
I think it's
like
pretty
because
accurate.
there was another documentary like a year afterward where another guy did the same thing, but he like exercised during the time and he counted calories, and he showed that he didn't gain any weight and his blood
Okay.
tests were fine.
So how many
it-
people that out of the people that eat McDonald's for every single meal, how many do you think overindulge in alcohol, and how many count their calories and exercise?
I
How many
think
of them are
that-
pregnant and making a baby out of only McDonald's?
I think there's probably you could find somebody that would let you subsidize their pregnancy.
I guarantee that if you just gave someone free McDonald's under the stipulation that they can only eat McDonald's while they're pregnant, that you wouldn't have to pay them anything.
Is that unethical? Do you have to go through
there's
ethics
way
for it if
worse
you're just a
shit in the
guy?
world.
They've got salads.
If you're a man with a plan.
I mean, especially if like McDonald's paid them like $1 million. Like,
Dude, I'm telling you, you don't need to pay them anything. You just give them like food is so expensive right now
That feels a little bit too
free McDonald's.
exploitive.
What are you
The
talking
kind of
about?
person,
People
like, if you
literally
need
smoke and
food,
drink alcohol when
you'll
they're
do anything
pregnant.
for the food, but like money is just extra.
It all depends on how bad you think it is for a baby to only eat McDonald's for 9 months. Like,
I
is
think
it
that-
actually
I guess
bad? If it's bad, then it's bad. If it's okay, then it's not that bad to
Here's
make
the
them
plan.
do it.
From the way
We're
I'm
all
reacting,
for
I
that.
guess
Other way.
I think it's bad subconsciously.
We go to McDonald's and tell them this woman's pregnant. She's only going to eat McDonald's. This baby's only going to be made out of McDonald's. Pay us $1 million and we'll stop the experiment. Can you imagine the team of lawyers being like, if anything is wrong with that baby, it's going to be the biggest marketing disaster we've ever experienced, worse than Super
You're a
Size Me. Of like,
genius, Will. You are
McDonald's
a genius.
baby,
It's a perfect catch-22.
McDonald's baby born with hamburger for a brain. A whole hamburger in its skull, like a Mayor McCheese. I mean, I guess it would. Yeah, you're right in that. Like, it wouldn't be worse than like the mom who like drinks and smokes or does drugs when they're pregnant. It couldn't be
that's
worse
what the
than
lawyers
that.
don't want to find
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
The
Like,
lawyer,
oh,
if you give them-
possibly.
Like,
if
what's
you
worse,
present
eating
them with this
McDonald's?
option, they're just going to quit.
Yeah. Okay.
It's gonna end up like when they put the McDonald's burger in like the glass jar for like a year and it doesn't mold. The baby's gonna live forever.
Yeah. You're like, I don't know what this implies about our food, but
But it's working.
I don't want to look too deep into it.
The McDonald's scientists
The
are like,
chicken nugget that
exactly
sat in
how
the
it
car.
should be working.
I do think a Subway baby would beat a McDonald's baby in like a little baby wrestling contest. I think that it would be
I think
better.
Subway's trying to distance itself from children.
I can't imagine why.
Oh boy.
All right, everybody. Our plan for after this podcast, this will be the Patreon extra. Actually, do we have a schedule for these yet? I should ask. I think they come out a couple of days later. So if you want access to the extras, including what we're about to do right now, which is Kevin, you want to?
We're going to do a couple drawings by memory. So we're going to try to draw a map of the United States by memory and draw
Oh,
a
God.
bicycle. Apparently, it's really hard to draw a bicycle just by memory.
Yeah.
Okay, so anybody who listens to this podcast and wants some extra content and to support us,
Yeah, we're gonna
in
hang
our
out.
endeavors. We're gonna hang out some more, exclusive to Patreon. So you can head on over. There we've got a couple of tiers. We've got, I think, the what's the first tier? How do I forget this every time?
It's big brain and then
There's
galaxy,
brain and big brain. So big
Oh, okay.
brain is the option that gets you access to Discord server, extra content. I think that's pretty much it. Then the Galaxy brain, we take Polaroids and we send Polaroids out every 3 months. So after 3 months of support, you get a Polaroid of one of us and it's signed. And if you're into that, that's the Galaxy brain tier. So we could do Q&A too. We do a bunch of Q&As, a bunch of extra stuff. If you're interested in that, go there. That is it. I won't say any more because I'm just repeating myself. What?
Hold on, that reminds me of something.
Okay. What?
I gotta take some Polaroids.
Oh,
are you gonna do some right now? Oh, hey!
Yeah.
So hold on.
You're not. There's
say
no way you're gonna
cheese.
be able to
1,
see
2.
us.
You know what's funny about these the Instax
There's no
cameras?
way. There's no way.
If you're looking to buy
We'll
a
see.
Polaroid, or I say Polaroid camera, their trademark is screwed. If you're looking to buy an instant film camera, we use the Fujifilm, the Instax Mini, because they don't really. It's hard to buy the other films. The minis are the most accessible. Don't buy the fancy one. Buy the shittier camera because the fancier cameras have automatic exposure and it's total dog water. It doesn't work at all, which is hilarious considering you're paying like $20 more. We have so much trouble with the automatic ones. Buy the
really?
crappy one.
Oh
with
yeah,
just
that's
the-
right. Yeah, Hannah was trying to take pictures of me with it.
Horrible.
It would never fire because it was like trying to judge
It's like
the
struggles, and it's like the pictures gonna look like crap anyways. Who cares? Just take it. And it's like nope, and then it underexposes, overexposes.
Oh, this actually worked.
Quick tip.
No way. Can you see us?
You're coming in. You're kind of you were washed out, but I can
Wow.
definitely see Will.
Yay!
Oh yeah. Huh. That's cool.
All right, we'll see everybody for the Patreon extra. now. Bye.